I suppose everybody here is familiar with this book, Company Aytch. In my opinion, it's the best Civil War book that's ever been written. And it was written by a private, Sam Watkins, who's a private in the 1st Tennessee Volunteer Infantry. And the second title of the book is A Sideshow of the Big Show. And it's a private's satirical view of everything that happens in military life from a private's viewpoint. And a good part of the spring of 1863, the 1st Tennessee Company Aytch was camped on Duck River at Shelbyville. And in Company Aytch, he actually describes the stay in Shelbyville in chapter 7 and describes being camped right on the edge of Duck River and so forth. Well, probably 30 years ago, I was relic hunting in the exact camp of where Company Aytch spent probably 3 months, spring of 1863, and one of my favorite all-time relics, definitely not one of the most valuable, but one of the neatest, is I dug a silver Aytch that is lead filled, and it's exactly like the Aytch that was on Sam Watkins' hat and the book Company Aytch was named after. Those camps were in the Western Theater, some of the best camps there were to hunt. It was two things: the longest period of inactivity of the Army of Tennessee during the war. It was January to June 23rd of 1863, which was also the high tide of the Confederates having supplies of actual Confederate manufactured materials. So you got to hunt where they had the most and stayed the longest. And in those camps, I've dug 69 Confederate buckles. And the reason they were there is they were issued there. And so it's the logical place for hooks to break and just things to cause them be there. And this little relic, I found that like 30 years ago, where this I found this year. And the one thing that has just eluded me all these years are hat pins. Like, I've been along when every hat pin on the planet has been state pin, like Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and everywhere else, but I've not found one until just this year. I found a Georgia state seal, and I dug it in the camp of the 2nd Georgia Cavalry in those same camps in the spring of 1863. I thought this was a bit interesting. As the years have gone by, our methods of researching for relic hunting have had to, at numerous times, evolve. Originally, when we were the very first out there, it was just a matter of reading the diaries of the regimentals and figuring out where the location is and going, and you were almost always one of the first there. But as the years have passed, many things have changed, and a lot of the winter camps and the easy to find places have evaporated, and we've had to get a little more ingenious about our research methods. And I wanted to share today a method that I've used in the last about 2 years that has proved successful, that probably could be applied to a lot of different places. And what I have started doing is, this is a tax map of the just after the Civil War period around Shelbyville, Tennessee, which was where Polk's Corps wintered the winter of spring of 1863. Well, what I discovered was that there was a higher ratio of hunting period house sites, that when I could find a person listed on that tax map that was also listed as being a soldier, about 1 out of every 5 houses that factor existed, where he was both a soldier and lived behind the lines, would have a good Confederate relic, where the normal ratio of just a period house site is like 1 out of 20 or 30 or even worse. But if a Confederate soldier lived there in the lines occupied by the Confederates, it's a 1 in 5 ratio of there being something good at that house site, a Confederate plate or a button. My last 3 CS buckles have been from these sites. Like, here are names that are behind the Confederate line, but in the line occupied with camps, and also had soldiers living at those house sites. And now camps have become so difficult to find and so difficult to get permission and get on. This is an avenue of opening up, because these soldiers lived all across the South in every state. But I've just used it in the camps of 63, but the same methods could be used in the camps of 64, 62, and you would be amazed how higher the ratio of finding good artifacts are if the soldier lived there. And secondly, it's even a higher ratio if they happen to be in the proximity of a long-term Confederate camp.